Okay, we're live. So, Dr. Chris and Nerdy and Scott, I don't know what you're talking about. I made a title, Finding the Believer Bone in Rebekah, because I'm trying to find the bone that makes her a believer. Okay, and I've been getting all kinds of pushback on this.
Yeah, I warned you. I warned you there would be pushback.
I have no idea what the hell you guys are talking about.
You're just such an innocent, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed young man, I tell you.
I didn't used to be.
Kid. You're just a naive kid. I called you Bones and just a second ago.
Bones?
Yeah, I almost called you Bones.
Yeah, anyway. Hi, look at the trees. Dr. Chris, Carol Kinzer, Nerdy Rodent, Vesta, Logan. Who else we got hiding out there? Not sure who else. Who else is hiding out there? Anyone else? Let's see. Andrew. Andrew's out there. Andrew, we had a question on astronomy that Scott wanted to ask you. Sandals? Let's say videotapes of Jesus.
Poor Wooly is here.
See, now it's nothing to do with bonings, okay? It's an anatomy question. Oh my God, that's worse. Okay, I'm digging myself a hole.
Yeah, you just need to stay away from that subject.
Okay. Anyway, so Rebekah did a stream with what's his name? John Haas, who wrote a book on atheists called, what is it called? The Courtroom of Atheism. Are you familiar with his book?
I have never heard of the book, and I really have no interest in the book. First of all, what is his background and credentials?
Have you read my book?
What is a PhD or master's degree or whatever does he have? Why does he have anything to say about the Courtroom of Atheism? You see, this is a great country, and I wish we had a God Bless America theme song to play in the background, but this is a great country where anybody who can shell out a little bit of money or get somebody else to shell out money can publish a book about any topic, but that does not obligate you to have to read it, because you have to answer the question, why should I read this person's book? What does he claim to be able to contribute to my knowledge and my edification?
Okay, his credentials are he's a Christian. Duh. I mean, that's it.
You know, I've looked at Christianity from both sides. I've heard a lot of people talking about Christianity over the years. I've read a lot about Christianity, read Christian views on different various topics. Why would his book be any different from what all else I've read?
Let's see. Here's his bio. Let's take a look here. Let's see. PTFS. We want to get rid of that, and we want to put on Chromol. Oh, Andrew's here. Mr. Andrew's here.
Who may be having troubles. Oh, there he is, Mr. Andrew. It's great to have you here.
Okay, here's the guy's credentials on. We're just going to get through this part, and then we have an astronomy question. Hello, everybody. Thanks for visiting. I'm John. Some know me as Johnny. I'm an aspiring author compelled to write addressing the question of concerns in the atheist community. And he has no credentials that he's listing anyway. I don't know. Maybe he's something. Who knows? Anyway, he's something.
He wrote a book.
Oh, he wrote a book. I muted the wrong thing. Anyway, we got questions.
May I ask my question, Andrew?
Yeah. Ask your question.
Go ahead.
Okay. We know of quite a few solar systems or whatever they call them, a bunch of solar systems in the galaxy, right?
Yeah, I think
And
the number is probably up to a couple thousand, I would guess, from last looking at it.
okay, and most of them involve typically large, have at least one, maybe more, large, like larger than Jupiter, and more gaseous giants, either with rock in the center, but a whole lot of gas, and they're usually typically close to the sun and usually orbit their sun pretty quickly. Is that your understanding of it?
So there are a couple things to keep in mind when kind of basing the statistics, and astronomers have to consider all this too. For one thing, it's of course much easier to see a giant planet in front of a star just because
Right.
it's blocking out more of the light, so the signature is much greater. So there's kind of that buy-in there, and also I don't know if the wobble method is still used much anymore, again, but I know that early on, for example, when they were trying to detect planets by gravity tugging on the star itself, basically, and affecting the starlight it produced. Of course, a giant planet would exert more gravity on Earth, especially
Right.
if it's closer to it. So there's that bias there too. But as our methods have gotten better, we have detected smaller planets. I think up or size to the Earth. I think we've detected some that are really slightly smaller than the Earth, or maybe
2 or 3
like
times.
Mercury, like Mist or something. We also
Mhm.
have something in between called super Neptunes, basically, that are not quite, or super Earths and then super Neptunes. So like kind of the whole range of exoplanet sizes there. I don't know if I'm answering your question so far. What did you
Well, I
ask
haven't
again?
really asked my question yet. Those are like leading questions. I feel like maybe I'm watching too many lawyer shows, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually
Oh,
asking
okay.
foundational questions. The abundance or the overabundance of large, rocky, gaseous planets that are close to their sun has been used as a reason, at least in a couple of videos I've looked at, to say that Earth's solar system is actually rare in the galaxy because we don't have a huge gas giant close to the sun orbiting very quickly. And I'm just wondering if that's some sort of um, bias due to our method of looking at solar systems. Are we not seeing a preponderance of, or even a 50-50 um, sample of medium to small planets up close to their sun, simply because we're not really equipped to see the thousands and thousands of those, like we are equipped to see the thousands and thousands of super large gas giants. And so I was just wondering about like the different methodologies. Have we really detected thousands of solar systems that have the small ones in the middle or in the center, the
Um,
inner envelope there?
there are a few of them we have detected. I think I don't know
Yeah.
um, that if we've detected like the kind of we have, where there's some rocky planets out there's larger gaseous planets like you there. I think that's the main kind of big discovery from looking for
Yeah.
exoplanets, is that there's a huge variety of solar systems that are, like you said, not terribly similar to ours. The ones I'm thinking of off that are kind of sort of similar to our solar system would be the TRAPPIST-1 system. Probably a lot of people have heard of that. And there are a few others that I don't remember the system number, but like planets Earth-size or slightly larger found in the so-called habitable zone specifically. But yeah, that's kind of the big question in this kind of research that you're asked, how exceptional is our kind of solar system, and I don't know if
Yeah, are we pulled up to be able to see the smaller ones? I guess is the question.
oh yeah, we, like I said, we are planets, and some of the planets that are really close into their stars, like you said, you can have planets that are within the orbit of Mercury to their star, basically, or I think we've seen also a few that are farther out than Neptune, our solar system. So we kind of have we have seen the whole menagerie. If your question is how extraordinary is our solar system, I haven't really looked at the statistics enough to say one way or another.
Gotcha. Okay.
I would kind of lean both ways, depending on what I was looking at.
It seems like
I don't know if that helps or not.
It does.
We haven't found the sweet spot yet, that we're looking for. Like, it'd be cool to find a planet size of ours right at, the same distance from a star that, or the same temperature, basically, as our planet. But we found things very close, right? It's just that every solar system... Yeah.
Or like I was saying, like we have found Earth-sized planets larger in the habitable zones of others. Again, not sure if that alone would make them habitable. Like that, a few other factors that would probably affect it, like you guys were saying, like whether a Jupiter-sized planet might also be important or not. Who's to say?
Right.
And those kinds of factors.
Water. We need water.
Water.
Yeah, we need water. Yep. Okay. Good enough.
I'll just say some folks out there just who are suggesting maybe we don't even need the planet to be in the habitable zone of its star, or at least for not the life, because you can have maybe, if the planet is large enough and therefore tectonically active enough, you can have some kind of hydrothermal vent systems around it, and maybe life could start on there. In that way, again, probably wouldn't be as complicated a life form as we. In fact, that's probably the best we're going to be able to see if we is these kinds of simpler life forms. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Yep. I think abiogenesis is going to be a real rare one for, but then what do we have? Like an old estimate of the number of stars was six sextillion, but I think it's gone up now, hasn't it, to about 120 sextillion or something in the universe. So, I mean, sampling, I mean that's a big big thing.
There was a. Yeah, I think there was a recent paper I looked at. I don't remember the title exactly, but it was saying maybe not all star systems have planets orbiting them. Like they're probably, again, a large proportion of them do, but so that kind of decreases the likelihood a little bit there. But yeah, there are just so many factors to take into account here. I think there is life out there somewhere. I like there are just too many planets for there not to be, just by sheer. But I don't know it's in our favor, whether or not it's rare. The chances are, but also still common enough that we can find it close to us or our own galaxy, you know, that sort of thing. So there's too many unknowns at the moment.
200 sextillion, 200 trillion billion stars out there somewhere.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah, that's a lot of zeros. Anyway, okay, cool. And Bree is here. Maya's here. Somebody else stopped in too. Pragmatic Crystal. Host. I don't know who that is. Anyway, okay.
Also, real quick, I do like what Henry Hansen said about the moons, and yeah, that's another big open question out there. Is like a moon orbiting a giant gas planet, and maybe life could start on that, for example. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, we still haven't ruled that
that'd open
out
up
for
the range.
Jupiter. We still haven't ruled that out for Jupiter.
Yeah, exactly. So,
or even Neptune. Aren't there several moons around Neptune that?
I don't know if they're probably big enough or active enough for that kind of, but probably closer to moons around Jupiter or Saturn would be my.
Yeah. So.
And then again,
Rebekah had
those anyway.
Rebekah had a stream, Andrew, and she was talking about evolution again, and why she is adamant about just showing that evolution is false and trying to explain to all of us fools why she knows more about it than we do. And she was talking to this John Hauser, and she was saying that she is convinced that evolution is why there are why people become atheists. And so anyway, that's what we're up against. We're up against these people that think that they have to save people from, for Rebekah. In Rebekah's case, it's not eternal hellfire, but it's dying, right? She has to save us from dying, so that we have an afterlife, right? And so in their hearts, it becomes very important to them. At least that's Rebekah's angle on it, and I think. Between Rebekah and Sel, there's another angle, and that is that we know more than you. We got the true answer.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that going on, and I think Rebekah is susceptible to that as well. She seems to have a little bit of an ego going on.
Well,
I mean, for the most part, yeah.
Can you really blame her though? All of us.
Oh yeah, we all feel
want to be the hero of our own story, the loner going against the status quo, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's just being a normal human being, believing that you're right and a lot of other people are wrong. But the thing is that I haven't staked out a small island of belief, I don't know that there are fairies running around up my woods. And sat there with me and about 10 other people on the fucking planet believe that, and we're right and everybody else is wrong. So I mean, there's the size of the size of I think 30% of the nation may be wrong, but I don't think 90%, 99% of it is like she does, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that. So it's not quite the same.
It's kind of a question of scale, I guess. Then
there's a little bit of hubris involved in believing that you're the 1%, and
there isn't. I'm just saying it's not at least initially for that behavior to arise.
Right. Yeah, and she she believes it in her heart, so it's.
I think there's about a 1% chance I'm 1% part of the 1%.
She's going to block all the atheists now. She said.
Yeah, except for Gur, maybe?
Yeah,
Gur. Yeah, Gur's.
Gur.
Yeah.
Lucky Gur.
Yep.
I wonder, does that mean she's going to block me and you, Speed, and you, Scott, and everyone else?
I think she'll probably block me.
She doesn't really need to worry about blocking me because I don't really ever go on her streams anyway.
I think I commented on her video. Oh, I asked her why she turned off turned off live chat, and then I also made a comment that, so I have sought God and found God, yet I'm an atheist. How do you explain that, Rebekah? And I don't know if she's going to actually respond to that or not. But and when I say I have sought God and found God, I'm talking in a very, very figurative sense, obviously, or I wouldn't be an atheist, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Top Dog's saying she might have blocked his sign.
Oh man, anybody that blocks Top Dog is, because he's polite and reasonable and
Yeah.
you know
That's
as open-minded as they come. I can't. Why would they block Top Dog for putting links? Or are you disagreeing with the evolution bullshit? The crusade against evolution, which is a big one. But anyway, I don't know. I'm just trying to understand why people would believe things that to me seem really far-fetched and that really go against the grain, and trying to understand what those little things are, those little pieces that, make you believe. And Godless Girl came on here, and Godless Girl is supposed to be an atheist who hates atheists, oddly enough. Yeah, Godless Girl said that her and Danny are, sophisticated philosophers, and none of us are, and that's what's wrong with us, that we're not sophisticated philosophers. And then she keeps going on about internet atheists, like we're a species, right?
interesting.
A particular kind of atheist that gets on the internet. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
When I
anyway,
spread
God-
my legs
use
and
that
look close
term too,
enough,
don't
there's a
they?
USB port right there.
Yeah, right. Godless Girl had an experience that she related to sobering up. So I think she's newly sober, or at least sober now, and had an experience involving dropping to her knees and saying the third step prayer, which is something they ask you to do in AA. And you have that experience, and she had that experience, and now she no longer identifies as an atheist. But now some people told me that she's trolling here, that she really is an atheist, and she's just trolling people. But listening to her, I know about that experience. I'm very familiar with a lot of people, including myself, who have had that third step experience. So that's why I was really interested in all of this. So, but there's something about a belief that is like it's fundamentally buried in our nature, and it's not the kind of thing that you arrive at rationally. It's something that you feel, a belief, right?
Well, especially if it gets tied up with your identity, then it kind of spirals from there.
Yeah. But, believing in naturalism could be that way unless you've really done a lot of work to go out and try to put it together and try to figure out, why do I believe in naturalism? Why am I justified? Why do I think, on and on and on. And if you haven't done that and you just believe, well, we all just, there are things that are sensible to us at some core level. And I think it's somewhat emotional that we prescribe to those beliefs. But if you leave it there, and I haven't, I've been very concerned about naturalism and how I justify it. And so I think I've done a lot of work. But not everybody has, and not everybody fucking needs to, It's like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying to get my mind around some of these people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all are to some extent, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. What are we up against?
Maybe even with our
Yeah.
How long would you say Godless Girl's been an atheist?
I don't know. I think it's kind of recent. So I'm trying to read this comment.
She was only atheist a few
hoping-
years ago, and then just was real active.
Oh, yeah. Hoping that Trump was pulling. Yeah. I don't know. She always has been somebody who's just come in and fucked with atheists, and then recently she got nicer about that, and she started messing with Darth Dawkins and some other people. And
Well, I
don't
would
know.
just say that you got to remember, even among atheists, people go through different life phases, maybe due to external changes or just internal changes in you.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
they may go in and out of spirituality several times. It's just different people handle things in different ways. Some people stay the same for quite a number of periods of time. That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. I'm sleep
Yeah.
deprived for an extended period of time. Other people change every 2 or 3 years in some big way. So it's just all part of life, and it's not really something to, I think, criticize. It's, just promoting secularism is the thing. In other words, yeah, you please engage in whatever you think will provide answers and make you happy, but don't impose on other people.
Yeah.
And unless, of course, it causes harm, whether anticipated or unanticipated harm uh, to the other, to other people.
Yeah.
So, like next week, Andrew may be some sort of believer. Maybe you'll become a Jain or a Zoroastrian, although they don't really take new members. You know that's fine. Pursue that path. Try to live your best life. That's the most fulfilling, and more power to you. It's just when people are point the finger back at us and go, "You're the problem with the world, or you're the problem with society," or "We're going to make laws that don't let you hold office or whatever." Well, that's a problem.
Right.
Don't let
Top Dog.
atheists hold office.
Top Dog has a really good quote here from a guy named Top Dog.
I've heard of him.
People can live their lives without caring about science. It's the spread of misinformation and disinformation that we are fighting against. And there is a huge body of knowledge that is science, and evolution is a very, very large part of that. It's a large part of biology and how we make sense of our own organism. And that is primarily what I am pissed off about. And, I don't know, I wouldn't say I'm pissed off, but that's primarily what I'm fighting against is when there are people listening going, amen, nodding their heads, and somebody spewing the most ridiculous anti-science garbage.
Yeah.
And that bothers me because I see technology, particularly neuroscience and our understanding of biology, as being the only goddamn hope we have for humankind. Ultimately. I doubt we're ever going to end up as utopian as my little brain would like. But if we were to end up that way, it would be from a clear understanding of naturalism and what we are, what it means to be a human organism, and what it means to be one among many organisms.
I don't
How
know,
we
it's
teach
just,
our kids.
it's a weird feeling, like that, like you're saying, those kinds of people in the side chat of creationist or pseudoscience videos in general. It's weird. Like at one at one side of it, you're feeling, of course, very frustrated and angry with them, but on the other side of it, you're also feeling very sorry for them, and it's hard to describe, but it's
I'm not so
like,
sorry
that
for
feeling, right?
I'm not so sorry for the speaker as I am for the audience.
Yes, yeah,
Because like I say,
that's what I mean. Yeah,
I have people that in my family that are part of that audience, and that hurts.
yeah,
It hurts to see them going that way. So
yeah. I know the feeling with some, let's just say, some relatives of mine, myself.
yep. Misinformation, as in Ms. Okay, it's Ms. information, not Miss. Okay. Yeah.
That's one thing that's really horribly wrong with our society now, is that people don't even know how to, well, most people, I should say, don't even know how to differentiate between fact and fiction, science and pseudoscience. Like,
Yeah.
I guess partly because of the internet and social media, though that's probably not the only thing. There's probably a changing political ideology and religious feelings going with the times, that sort of thing all jumbled together. But
I don't know. I like to think I do it right. And like an example, recently I watched a video on carbon-14 dating where the guy was spewing about how they took 10 coal samples and they found carbon-14 in them. And so I went out on Google and I looked up 10 coal samples, carbon-14, and I couldn't find a damn thing except for creationist sites. And then so then I Googled carbon-14 and coal, and I found a few very interesting articles about why there's carbon-14 in coal. Some samples, but not others. Some have like near nothing. They can't find any.
Right.
Others they find, trace amounts and detectable amounts. And so I went out and looked on, I think, both sides of that argument. Like if there had been really good information out there about carbon-14 in coal that hadn't gone on to say, here's why there's carbon-14 in coal, and here's what, here's what the limits are. I mean, I tried to give it a fair shake, right? Because if they really found, like, if they found carbon-14 in coal where they could say this one coal seam looks like it's 10,000 years old and the other one looks like it's 4,000, or if they found that all of them look like they're 6,000, but that isn't what they found at all. In the coal they checked, it was like 50, 60, 70,000 years, which is right out there on the limit of what C14 can do.
Yeah.
And depending on the lab that they picked. So as it turned out, these creationists went out and got 10 coal samples and sent them to this one lab for dating and came up with all these results. And that's what they're basing it on. Well, Look a little deeper and ask yourself, are there any other ways for carbon-14 to be in those coal samples? Now, they had those coal samples, sent them in. I asked the guy, do you have a paper on this? Can you please tell me? Because what they do now, they're very interested in finding coal that is completely free of carbon-14 because they want to use a coal or oil because they want to use it to detect neutrinos, right? So they're trying to find coal that has absolutely no contamination. And this one researcher said what we do is we try to mine it in inert gas so that it never touches anything in the atmosphere. And they take great care with this coal to go out and test it. And in some of them, they find trace amounts of carbon-14. And that is because coal happens to be in a context with other rocks. And some of those rocks have uranium in them, and thorium, uranium, thorium. And then the other thing is that when coal is stored, if it's the slightest bit damp, there are bacteria that start putting carbon into that coal, and there's going to be carbon-14 with that. So I mean, you can't just sit up there and just bald-faced lie to your fucking audience that you have this absolute proof that coal shouldn't have carbon-14 in it, because they don't know that. I mean, the leading edge research on this carbon-14 free coal is just now. They're working very hard on getting coal without carbon-14 in it.
Well, I think what this is based on is kind of the general misconception that science is focused on ideal conditions. I think I was just thinking phrase nature abhors a vacuum. Maybe we should start saying nature abhors controlled conditions under a laboratory. It's actually really hard, at least in a lot of circumstances, to get perfect, I should say, the perfect conditions that we would like to be doing these experiments. So you gotta take that into account in your analysis too. And of course, that's why we have systematic errors and ways of statistically analyzing all this. But if, like, for example, what you're talking about with carbon-14, if you got a sample, just a wee bit amount of carbon-14 in it, the detector, again, because of the uncertainties of experimental science, can't differentiate between uh, having that 14 in it that's decaying away and just no carbon 14, and it spews out a number
Right.
because that's what it's designed to do. It can't. It's within the error bars, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But
Yeah.
that's why you have to be familiar with all that, or else you're going to get these claims that, oh, this coal sample that is actually 5,000 or something years old is actually said to be 1,000,000 years old, or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when you send in your sample to these labs, you give them a ballpark about how old you think the sample is.
Right.
And based on that ballpark, they take different precautions, they have different procedures for analyzing that. And there was this Thompson guy that Cell Cordova talks about. He came up with all kinds of carbon 14 problems and dating problems. And he admitted in his paper, which was about 150 pages long for some reason, and I haven't been able to find that admission again, but I'm going to find it eventually. Haven't looked all that thoroughly. He admitted that he lied to the laboratories about the age of his sample.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, he put the other sample, sent it to them. They wanted some idea where it came from, what strata it was in, and whatever. And he admitted that he lied to them because he wanted to see what their answer would be.
It's
And of course,
interesting you compare those attempts to like Seek Project, where they openly admit that, yeah, we can't explain this without miracles, like the dating techniques are just too reliable, that sort of thing.
yeah, I think the rate project is where they got those 10 samples from the University of Pennsylvania or something. I think that may have been the rate project, but he didn't link any references. He just blathered to his audience, and it's just, oh my God, it's just like stop blathering to, and the other thing for all of you atheists out there, Jesus Christ, when you take down a video or you talk about a video or you mention a paper, put a link in your description to what you're talking about so that we don't have to do all the work and go out and look for stuff. I mean, it's just like
set the example speed.
Sources, right? Okay. Ember did a thing on 21 creators you may not have found, and the son of a bitch didn't mention us, but he did mention Captive Death, so I'll give him that. And he mentioned Amy Newman and a few other good ones, and I put that in my description because, of course, I'm talking about it, right? So it's in my description. Go and take a look at that. Anyway,
okay,
should we get to this video a little bit? Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, just a brief side note based on some of the comments in the side chat. Have any of you guys seen that or any trailers for the Meg 2, The Trench? You know what I'm talking about?
I saw the Meg 1, but not 2. No, I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen an
There's
image,
another
but I
one
haven't
coming
seen
out
the
in
trailer.
August. What was that?
I said I've seen an image or whatever of, but yeah, I haven't seen the trailer. Why don't we pull it up?
Is it 10 times? Is it 10 times as big as Meg 1?
I'm guessing so, based on the trailer. But the thing that kind of drove me up the wall, and this is just my paleontology nerd jumping out here. Like, saw the first trailer that came out, and I don't know if it's also more recent trailers, but oh yeah, there we go. See, these lizards and the like creatures, and then dinosaurs, and say right there it's 65 million, and then they show the Meg. I'll just spoil it here, jumping out and eating the T-Rex off the beach, and I'm like, what? These creatures in side by side.
Yep.
My audio okay?
No, your audio's okay.
Okay, people in side chat are saying it's cutting out. I don't know what's going on.
I didn't hear you. I'm trying to get this thing the right size on YouTube. What in the hell is going on there, OBS? Something bad is going on. Anyway, okay, so they show T-Rex number. Oh, copyright for a trailer? Did they do that? I don't think so.
Maybe.
Oh, this is not YouTube. That's why I'm... Oh my God. Now I screwed everything up. Now I blew everything.
Okay.
Okay. I gotta go back to where I was. Okay. I don't know. I don't really care anymore. I don't get monetized anyway. I'm never going to. So,
Oh,
did they
okay.
show? Have you got to the T-Rex part yet, or did
They
you?
just showed it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I was fucking
You,
around.
you,
I
you
didn't
can look
see
at
it.
it later. I was just pointing that out.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, people
Anyway.
are saying my audio is really bad. Maybe I might jump back.
No, you shouldn't be. You're really good for me. I don't quite
Okay, I
understand.
put the link to the official Warner Brothers trailer in the private chat. Looks to be the same trailer. It runs fine on my computer.
Huh. Oh, maybe every now and then when I play videos, Andrew, I think somehow it fucks with your audio, and I don't understand that. But we've had that problem before.
Well,
Yeah.
that's okay then.
I don't know.
I'll just mute
Let me
myself
see.
while you're playing clips from it then.
So, did you see that that Adam Driver movie, Andrew? 65 or 65 million years ago, whatever its actual title is.
I saw some clips of it from like reviews online. I didn't watch it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's on one of
The
the.
trailer blew me off of that.
Yeah, it's on. It's a pretty decent
It's a good film.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If if you don't get too uptight about any errors with the animals, the reptile, the dinosaurs.
The thing you gotta know about me with movies, my
You'll get uptight.
limits are very literal and very stringent. So that's just me.
Andrew's
There
striking.
was a creature in there that they were running from and killing that I just didn't recognize, and I was hoping to get some idea as to what they were or what they were supposed to be.
Oh yeah, creatures in that movie were dinosaurs. They didn't look like dinosaurs. They were dinosaurs.
Even the T-Rex.
That wasn't a T-Rex. It was walking on 4 legs.
Right,
Was
that
it?
one was, but there was a T-Rex in there. Wasn't there?
Was?
Really?
Okay, I got to watch it again.
I don't think so. Yeah. Get mad.
Okay, so it was just like just a random CGI pseudo
Movie
animal,
monster kind of thing. Yeah.
an animal-like monster.
Well, I know like in the like some people were comparing some early movies, where instead of having
there's
actual
a T-Rex.
yeah, there
Was
we go.
that? Or
Actual stop
something.
motion dinosaurs, they would just have lizards or crocodiles and stick weird appendages on them and say, "Oh, look, it's a dinosaur." So,
Yeah.
but they were saying it kind of reminded them of that sort of thing.
Uh-oh. My headphones just gave me a warning. That means
Oh, your
that means
battery's
we're
going out.
screwed. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to move over here. Can you hear me yet? Yeah.
I can
Yep.
hear you now.
Oh, good. Anyway, okay. So, are we
We go
gonna
back.
check this video? Huh?
I hate when my tangents take things off tangent.
My God, that's why we have you in for your tangents. That's what
If
we
your
pay you
tangent has
for.
a tangent, is that a cotangent? I don't know. It's
Yeah,
been so long since I've
cotangent, right.
You pay
had
me?
trigonometry.
Cotangent would undo a tangent. So, like co-things, like yeah, like a co-product, is a sum, undoes a product, sort of. Anyway, you reverse the arrows.
We could add Jurassic Parking lots.
What was that? Oh,
From what? Sorry, I'm getting distracted by side chat again.
yeah, I get. It's yeah. The stream Becky did. Let's see. Oh, Becky. He calls her Becky. Interesting. Godless and John Haas aren't exactly who I'd pick to have discuss the question. Yeah. I was thinking. I went on and checked Godless Girl's channel, and I saw some Jack Anstrike and And I saw her talk, on these philosophers going, just hammering each other, being extremely fucking rude, swearing at each other, yelling at each other. And do you remember, like in well, you probably remember, Andrew, but Scott may not. High school lab when they had those little tiny wire brushes or little tiny bottle brushes for cleaning test tubes.
Yeah.
Well, it occurred to me that these philosophers on YouTube kind of like to take those things and stick them up each other's ass and go back and forth real fast. And it's not quite as bad as if they stuck something huge up there, right? But just this little tiny brush, and it seems like that's kind of the impression I got that what they do when they get together and spar about, modus ponens and whatever, it just, and I
Yeah.
call them philosophinis. I'm sorry, but
Doesn't strike me as sophisticated.
not very sophisticated, no. If you're sophisticated, you'll write a paper and people will respond to it.
Hey,
But
since
anyway,
Leo is here, that actually reminds me. So, did I ever tell you? Me and him actually recently, like a few days ago, I think we did a live stream. Sal and Rebekah's latest stream, so check that out.
who did?
Me and Leo.
Oh yeah, okay,
Oh, that's right.
yes,
I
that was
told you
good.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was in chat. I was watching. So, uh, yeah, this Sean, coherentist Sean. I thought he was. There were just a bunch of people hammering him, and I never heard anything about coherentism, other than Sean was asking. He was trying to understand Godless Girl's nihilism, and they were, shouting at him that he was an idiot. He didn't understand nihilism and all of that. And it's basically, it's like, and then I thought, those little brushes that they clean test tubes with, rhyming up each other's ass real quickly. That's kind of what I thought they were doing, because I didn't really get any content at all. So yeah, so coherentist Sean, so he's a coherentist. I think it's a perfectly valid position. Coherentism doesn't have any grounded justification either. So I don't know what they're talking about. I'd have to go back. Leo, if you can send me a really good thing where coherentist Sean actually explains his position, I would love to have that video. And I'll take a look at it. So anyway. Okay, so I was going to play some of this stuff. And first of all, Godless Girl, should we do that?
What?
Yes, that's the most interesting part, I think, that we're gonna.
Oh, okay.
If someone comes to
Encounter.
God, because I'm a former atheist, it's not going to be through a rational argument. It's going to be because they know God. And I don't know if Rebekah agrees with that, but I know Johnny and I agree. And there's one Christian on Andrew on Clubhouse who's Johnny said, even though they disagree wildly in their theology, he says he does think that Andrew knows God, because Andrew says things like, I know Jesus is real more than I know my own mother is real. And that's how I feel, is like, because I feel I know God because when I'm with God, the presence of God, in the presence of God.
Gigi, did you say you're now a former atheist?
Yeah, I mean, I've been going back and forth for a long time. I just didn't talk about it much. I kind of been open about that on Clubhouse in small rooms. But I mean, since this last time I've been sober, I definitely see God working in my life.
Excellent.
Oh, you didn't know this before, John? Is this a surprise?
I felt that Gigi was very open to theism in general, and she's always been fairly friendly to Christians. So, I mean, I'm not saying I'm shocked, of course, but for her to go ahead and make the declaration that she's no longer an atheist, this is the first time I've heard that. So, yeah, that's cool.
I think I had told you on Clubhouse that there was at one point in my life that I did believe, and we were talking about prayer and stuff. And I told you, remember I told you I had prayed I was convinced by people, because I was in such a desperate situation, to pray for the willingness to be willing to believe. And then I came to believe, a few years ago. But then I did a lot of things that blocked me off from God. And this past like maybe year and a half before this me getting sober a few months ago, I would sometimes believe and sometimes not. I'm not really sure.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
But-
Cool.
So, Gigi, do you want to share, like, because it wasn't a path of, like, rational arguments that brought you to God, right? So, what was it that brought you to God?
I want to play this whole thing because it's kind of interesting, and it has a lot to do with addiction and sobriety, and I think that's really important. So, anyway, we'll keep playing here. Listen to her story.
Well, I was very closed-minded, like so many internet atheists, you know. Even though, you know, it's what's ironic about internet atheists is they're everything they hate. They're dishonest. They're like closed-minded, you know, and unwilling to believe. Like they're bigoted against it.
I mean,
Unwilling to change their mind.
you really have to make a generalization like that.
I know. Yeah, it's like, is that a species, the internet atheist? I don't know.
It was basically people pointed out, like in Alcoholics Anonymous, that my attitude towards prayer was actually unscientific because I wasn't even willing to try it. And I felt pretty silly the first time I tried it, but they said a bunch of people, like the way God works in my life is through other people. And just a bunch of people have been talking to me in a short amount of time about prayer and told me, like one told me to, you know, just really mean it when you say it. Pray, and another one said, just pray for the willingness to be willing. Pray for open-mindedness. And so I kind of felt silly when I did it, but at the same time I really meant it. And immediately, I didn't come to believe in God immediately, but I became open-minded in the sense like I could sit through a Bible study and take wisdom from what was being said without literally believing it was true. When before, you know, you would just be, the atheists would just, that's so ridiculous. Get angry when the Bible is read and stuff like that. And it immediately changed my heart. God changed my heart immediately when I prayed.
That's what I was going to ask you,
Okay.
Gigi. As far as this transition that you made, would you say that it's an intellectual matter of why a person is an atheist, or do you think it's more of a heart condition?
Okay, heart condition, and that's John Haas's big thing. It's more of a heart condition than something you come to rationally. Well, anyway, what
And obviously,
Gigi,
by heart condition here, he doesn't mean cardiovascular disease, right?
so in the AA Big Book, there's a chapter called "To the Agnostic," and there's also a 12 and 12 that goes along with it, where they talk about the second step, I think, and they talk about these agnostics who. All they ask you to do is to just, as heartfelt as you can, open yourself up to the possibility of God and fall down on your knees and say this prayer. And this is a very impactful thing that a human can do. Praying opens up your mind in a way that is almost dangerous because you self-hypnotize yourself into this state, right? And it's not a bad thing. When you're suffering from an addiction, this is not a bad thing. I mean, this can actually sober you up. But there's nothing in the AA doctrine or the Big Book or in anything about philosophy that says you have to start believing in a particular religious dogma. You just have to understand something about your own mind. And that something has nothing to do with naturalism or anti-naturalism or any of that stuff.
Well, there's also nothing in there that
way-
says once you're sober, you have to start being a theist too, right? Or you
Right,
have to
right.
keep there or whatnot.
Yeah, the compromise that they made with the Native Americans back in the 30s was God of your understanding. So that can be anything, and that can be other people, that can be a psychological way of being, which is what it is for me. And basically, I put myself in a state of mind where I am at peace. I'm not thinking rationally about anything, naturalism, atheism, religion, nothing. And the thing is that means that you let go of all belief. And at that moment, when you let go of all belief, solutions can pour in. And if you're in an AA meeting, that solution generally takes the form of you finding things that will help you solve your addiction problem. And it can happen like in a second. It happens like overnight. It happened to me many times, several times in my life. This last time, 16 and a half years ago, it happened while I was walking up the back steps, step 1, 2, 3. And it just, it's transformative. But the thing is, if you take away from that you now have to start believing in some dogma, you're being just as stupid as you were when you were claiming, oh, there's nothing spiritual out there, right? You're being just as closed-minded when you pick up a new dogma or a new belief. Now, for Buddhists, the idea is to lay down all belief, to let go of all belief, and to get into that state where you have no belief. Christianity is not that fucking state, even though Christianity can sustain alcoholics for some period of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it sure does. I think Andrew was mentioned it earlier, but it seems like what happens here, and I know this is probably socially encouraged by the Christians that are taking advantage of the transition and in Godless's life there, but it seems like she's trading one set of assumptions or generalizations for another. Like when you were an atheist, you made these generalizations about Christians, which is kind of it's kind of a handy shorthand so that you don't have to go back and build ideas up from the foundation all the way up. But it just seems like she's making all these generalizations about atheists, and recalling them, reshaping her memories about her interactions with other fellow atheists, in light of the the Christians around her's generalizations about atheists, and
it always seems to lead to an us versus
Yeah,
and there's also this idea that I had a thought, it just escaped me, but I'll come back to it.
That happens.
Yeah, me too. It seemed profound when I was thinking it, but anyway, let me percolate on it for a second, and I'll interrupt somebody later.
Okay.
Yeah,
like I always do.
Okay, Godless Girl goes on about the and Rebekah does, and this guy does, about the angry online inner tube atheist that's trying to get rid of Christianity and basically yelling at Christians about their belief and all that stuff. And basically, Godless Girl's doing the same thing, except she does it at atheists.
Right.
And she has for a long time, and she mellowed out a little bit, but so I don't know what the hell she's talking about.
Maybe I'm just in a very narrow regime here, but like half the quote unquote internet atheists, I don't yell at people, even Christians or anything.
Yeah.
So
I thought about what I was going to say. The approach here, once again, is it's a heart condition. You've got a bad attitude. It's you've got a bad attitude, boy. Like your old high school coaches or whatever would say to you. You got a bad attitude, boy. You need to get that attitude straightened up. No, maybe we do have a bad attitude, but some bad attitudes are well earned. But beyond that is how many freaking prayers do you have to pray before you realize this shit's just not doing anything? It's not doing what they say prayer will do. And when I say I done it, they say do it some more, except do it right this time. So there's no real test for the reality of their shit. And when they say pray, so what? You'll just say pray more. Don't stop praying, and go, oh yes, like that's a keep on praying. That the more you seek God, the more you'll find Him, which is their claim, but that's not a reality. So how many more times?
So prayer is almost kind of like an arcade game machine now.
Yeah,
Playing.
yeah.
Keep playing the game.
But there is a way. Okay, I'm going to push back a little bit on what you said, Scott, because there is a way to do it.
Okay.
There is a way to do it where you do get a result, and the result is what Godless Girl was talking about. Something happened to her, right? And something happens to you at a deep psychological level that seems very stunning and it's very unusual. And and you can also learn to do that in, like, I've learned to do. I'm an atheist who prays. And the reason I pray is because I've gotten skilled at putting myself in a state of mind where I become open. And when I become open, and I do this primarily for social interactions, like if I'm having a fight with a relative or something and I'm all pissed off at them, oftentimes I will do this prayer where I let go of that particular, anything I'm thinking about that person, and I let go of it, and within days I have an answer to that prayer. And obviously that answer came about through natural means, through my brain, through psychology. But it's stunning how it works, and there are attitudes. And prayer is not used for things like, get rid of my kidney cancer. No, the Mayo Clinic does that, not the fucking prayer.
Oh, there's plenty of Christians that are praying for their kidney cancer
Right,
to be
right.
gone. So,
But I mean, if you,
I guess once again, it's a conversation involved with define your terms and what you expect.
yeah, well,
What are you saying when you say I need to pray? What are you saying when I need to be open? Open to what? Do you mean birds can fly through my skull and out the other side?
right,
Is that
right,
open
no.
to you? Or but as you try to get these clarifications and resist broad generalizations and ambiguous answers, you're going to be perceived as having that heart condition, So that's the problem. It's the resistance to feedback from now. Do I have a angry attitude? No. Do I get worked up sometimes? Yes, but I don't consider myself closed. I just consider myself as having been there, done that. You're not saying anything new. So why should I now be overly impressed here and now? You're just saying I don't have a good heart condition because what you think should work isn't working.
Right, right.
And
Yeah,
that's the real problem, is what you think should work in reality doesn't work. Now, if you want to reinterpret prayer as some sort of meditative experience where, life and your mind processes work out towards enlightenment and fulfillment, that's great. That's a great definition of prayer, and it's a little confusing, I think, for people who believe in the kind of prayer where you ask for things and
Well, that's actually this might be a naive question I have based on side chat as someone who does a lot of self-reflection, but not really pray per se. What exactly is the kind of differentiation between meditation versus prayer? I'm genuinely curious. I'm not trying to be sarcastic here or anything.
Yeah, meditation. I mean, there's a whole lot of different types of meditation that you can do, and it's basically trying to get you in that state. But like, okay, if your room is messy or you have some homework that you should get done and you're having trouble getting to it, and you're having some problem in your life, what you can do is put yourself into this prayer state or meditative state, and ask for help, wisdom from the outside, to get this task done. And oftentimes you will find that in the following days, you've done that task. If you've cleared yourself, because you have self-hypnotized yourself to do that thing, right? So, I mean, it's a method of self-hypnosis, and it's really interesting. Back in the 60s, there were all kinds of books written on self-hypnosis, and people were, developing techniques to hypnotize yourself so that you change The important thing here, okay, there's a prayer in AA that's really common, and it's grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the fucking wisdom to know the difference. Okay? And that's the whole key. Prayer is never going to change anything other than you. It's not going to change the fucking world around you as much as you hope it will,
Yeah.
but you can change yourself. And it's interesting, our minds are really complicated structure. They have a complicated structure, right? And you can trick your mind into changing your mind, which is really
Right.
fucking cool. And that's what it's all about. And that's what, but these people have, they do these things, and then somebody comes along with Jesus, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, it was Jesus. No, it wasn't. It was just you changing your mind, right?
Yeah.
And that's what drives me nuts about it. And there are some atheists that won't even have that like Matt Dillahunty. You couldn't even have this conversation with him that I'm trying to have, because he would shut me down in a second. Oh, bullshit, and why do you believe that? And he would take the over rational approach, right? Well, fuck, rationality is great, but humans are not computers. They're organisms.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And it's like you can do a lot of shit with your mind,
My mama
Yeah.
didn't give birth to no organism. I'm a man.
You're a man, yeah. You're a man.
Okay, let's see. Is it going to show up here? No, maybe that's the wrong one.
Yeah, try that out.
Okay, all right. Where's my thing here? Okay. I wrote this here.
Actually,
Among Christians, at least the kinds of Christians that taught me stuff, there are types of prayer, supplication.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scott.
Yeah.
We'll back up.
Let's
I'm
bring
sorry.
that back speed. I was using it.
Okay.
Okay. Supplication, that's where you ask for things. Imprecatory, which is a rare thing, but you see it in the Bible.
Ooh, I like that one.
In the Psalms, where you're calling down curses on people.
I like that one.
It's not really an approved Christian thing, but it is in the Bible. And where you're praised as the one who dashes infants on the rock. That's kind of an imprecatory thing. Strike all my enemies down. There's meditative prayer, and that was real big amongst the contemplative movement. That's what monks and other clerics do all day in their monasteries. And there's a fourth one. I call it doxological, but that's just where you praise God and worship God in your prayer time. Those are the different kinds of means or modes of prayer that, at least in the evangelical conservative circles that I ran with, that's how they divided it up. But once again, no matter what I do, I've done all that. But it reached a point where the things in the Bible just were not really corresponding to reality. And so that's one reason. Now, is that a Hort condition?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No,
but once again, your heart and your mind are in the same bit of organic material. So, and you don't have mind without having emotion. Even if you are so boring or so, I won't say boring. Even if you're so even-keeled that you never react to anything, you may be experiencing problems. It may not be the thing to do, but sometimes people get mad and they have the right intellectual position. Sometimes people get happy and they have the right intellectual position. They're not related, but they are, because you can't separate your Hort condition from the state of your mind. And once again, just because things that you think should happen to me are not happening to me when I do the damn thing that you said to do all along, and it didn't work. It's not, the problem is not with me necessarily. I've been there, I've done that, I've made that evaluation, but you just don't respect me That's a hypothetical you. You just don't respect me and my personhood to to allow for that because of fear of a world where what I'm saying might be valid.
Okay,
So-
if I may talk a little bit, and I know someone going to take this to someone out there on the internet, but have y'all ever considered how many prayers it takes to screw in a light bulb?
Okay, no.
0.
Sorry.
No.
I don't know.
I hadn't thought of that one. No. But that's just something we should meditate on there, Andrew, or is,
I don't know. That's just my sense of humor.
You
for
should
it.
meditate on it for 40 days.
I'm going to meditate on that. God, how many prayers does it take to screw in a light bulb? Yeah.
And
But
don't speak to anybody while you're considering it.
Yeah.
Well, in all seriousness, though, I don't know, like, based on what you guys were saying, if I do meditation, then I tend to think of it more as like self-thinking, self-reflection, that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess different people can have different
Yeah, and the thing
ways
is,
of doing it.
the thing to understand is that when you do stuff like that, when you put yourself in a certain mind state, you're actually capable of doing a little bit of rewiring inside your own mind, and you are not going to
Yeah.
be the same. We're never the same from one moment to the next, where our minds are constantly changing. But I mean, there are ways to basically psychologize your mind or program things into it, and that happens. So yeah, Gur. So we got to be a little suspicious when all the atheists have been banned except for Gur. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
Gur,
like-
I don't know that.
Okay. Double agent is what I want to say.
Does he
Snitch.
have
Yeah.
a link by any chance?
I put a link out there. I
Yeah.
pinned the
Oh,
link
okay.
in case anybody wants to come in on this, because I think this is really
I'm looking
important
at
to
you,
understand.
Gur.
Yeah, we're looking at you, Gur. Your mom says hi, Gur. Anyway,
Lowbrow speed. Lowbrow.
oh, I know. I do it all the time to him. He puts up with it. Anyway,
Hey, I have a link incoming because you were talking about essentially neuroplasticity.
link
Dr.
incoming.
Yeah, Dr. Chris Thompson did a video about 20 minutes long on neuroplasticity just today.
Going up it. Sorry.
There you go. He did. When did he do this?
Hey,
Today.
yeah, he uploaded it 2 hours ago.
Where's our link? Where did you put the link?
I'm getting it to you now. Don't have a hissy fit.
I'm having a fit. Okay, I'm awaiting.
But I just needed to map out the material in the format that that is used. So I'm putting it in the private chat right now. But yeah, it was a
Okay.
good one. He kind of
I kinda like-
exposes myths.
Oh, great.
Oh,
Fisher's comment here that I know it's probably too simplistic, but meditation is internal while prayer is external. I kind of like. I'm gonna think of
Yeah.
it as that for now at least.
well, when I say I pray, what I do is I do a physical thing, and I've learned to program my mind to basically I can relax myself. I can drop my heartbeat. Just all kinds of neat shit that I've been able to do with just developing a skill to control my mind with my mind, which is a really fucked up thing, but we can do it. We have this executive control over things, right? And then we have these other controls where we kind of trick our mind into things, and it's kind of interesting. But it's a skill
Ooh,
worth
nothing new
developing.
color.
So we have
Hello.
captive desk.
Oh, hey Dave.
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 I
Hello,
didn't
gentlemen.
recognize the avatar at first.
Yeah, that's the only reason I wanted to pop on. Really, was to say hi and get my avatar up there.
Oh yeah, you gotta.
Oh, Dave, you
Oh
stuck
yeah.
You got a shill for the channel, even though Ember called you out and he didn't call me out.
Ember's a nice guy. Appreciate it.
I know he's a nice guy. He's really got a up and coming presence in this community, and he's really works hard at it. He's doing a good job.
I've got him penciled down for sometime in August. So stay
Do you
tuned.
really? Okay.
Get him on the desk sometime in August.
Yeah.
Hey Dave, while you're here, I want to say sorry about not getting back to you on the evolution stream. I've been busy with other stuff, and I just
I know you were busy over there with Leo. Over there with Leo, and yeah, I know how you are. You pick Leo over me.
All the cool kids.
Anytime you got free time, Andrew, just let me know. We'll set something up. Always a pleasure.
Well, you had a other stream anyway, so maybe we can do that one.
And I've got others in the queue too. So I gotta finish up my Vine Apologetics series. I did his first video. Well, I did his first video. Number 2 and 3 are basically repeats of the fine tuning. So I'm going to skip to number 4. And that is what caught my eye was the Descent from Darwin list. Ugh.
Oh, okay.
And then he wraps it up. I guess his last one is plants because he's Farmer Josh. So it's called Vine Apologetics. All he really has up there is a 6-video series that he did for some church.
Never heard of him. Interesting.
Oh, I did. Yeah, that just came on my radar recently. Vine Apologetics.
Yep. So I'm gonna cover the 4, 5, and 6. We'll just call 2 and 3 covered under fine tuning because it's just look at the rocks, look at the water, look at the planets, look at the and it's just, well, that's the same argument in over 3 videos.
That's what this guy says in the beginning. This John Haas or whatever, in the beginning of his book, he says, can you prove? Somebody asked him, "Can you prove God?" He's like, "Well, look at the trees, look at the stars." That's what he's got in his book. It's like, right, okay, so.
And if you didn't see my comment, Mike, Carol did give you a shout out on Ember's stream.
Really?
She
Thank
said,
you, Carol.
"Oh, by the way, and everybody should go over Answers in Atheism." So you got a shout out.
At least somebody fucking remembered me.
Thank you,
well,
Carol.
like Ember said, though, he could have gone on and on and on and on, but he wanted to make a short video. So,
yeah.
I'm guessing this Hauser guy is a Christian then, not an atheist.
Yeah, he's a Christian, and
okay.
And he's got this. He reads the first chapter of his book here. Where is that? Refuting. Oh, let's see. No, it's not that. The Courtroom of Atheism. I think. Oh, I didn't put that in the. I'll put that in the description. He reads the first chapter of his book, and his book was free for me on Kindle, so I picked it up. So,
yeah. Anyway. I feel like that should be probably like the number one or up there among caveats on YouTube. Just because you wrote a book on something doesn't mean you're right.
Yeah. Yep. That should be. Oh, let's see. So I'm guessing that Dr. Chris, there's a bunch of bullshit on the internet about rewiring your brain too. One must be careful.
Yeah, he deals with that. He's kind of debunked some misleading statements and myths about it.
Right. There's James, and what am I looking for? September Song, Willie Nelson.
Ooh, Forbes.
What am I looking for? I'm looking for Dr. Chris's video. Okay.
By the way, Dave, how's the flood machine going?
I've got my box all ready. I've got holes drilled in it. I've got plugs to put in so we can drain the water out and everything.
Cool.
And I've got a liner and some spray adhesive. So it's just too dang hot here today, or we would have lined it. But mostly today we just put the air conditioner in.
92 in Minnesota today, Scott.
But I also ordered some sand timers because I'm sick of hearing Hovind shuffle his deck of cards and saying, "Oh, is this one newer because it's on top?" So we're gonna address that.
Yeah.
I bought some sand timers, and we're gonna put a card down, and at the same time, I'm gonna put some dirt in a jar, and I'm gonna flip over the sand timer, and then few more minutes. I'm going to do it again and again. And I'm going to say, see the sand timers? Because I think when Paula Gia did his sand timer video comparing it to radioactive decay, I thought it was a great analogy. So
yeah.
I got my sand
like,
timers, and that's going to be added into the
nice.
creation science series too. So
yeah,
yep, it's coming together. Coming together.
So, yeah, hopefully the heat goes down sometime soon.
Well, we had chilly and rainy, and then it's 90 degrees. You know, so it's been really weird here.
Messed up. We've messed it up.
But yeah, I've got it. It's all set up on the picnic table.
Cool.
I've got some spray paint to make a little background. I'm gonna have some blue sky and then some gray sky just for fun. And yeah, I've got my little tent I can put up to protect everything. And then, so yeah, we get a nice day and we will roll video.
If I may say something on that little Hovind sound bite right there, just real quick. Like, even his deck of cards example there, like, literally disproves his own point, and he just doesn't how to look at it properly, because, like,
right.
I'll use another analogy. Like, if you have a bunch of books and you lay one down, okay, you know that one was laid down first. Same thing as rock superposition, or the law of superposition. And then another book laid down. That one came after the first book, and so on and so forth. Like, what we mean by the age of the rocks, relatively speaking. Like, and I'm sure I know I've explained this to him. Lots of other people have explained this. Still doesn't get it, or he just doesn't want to. I think
I don't like to use his name, but I've got a Hawaiian shirt, so that's going to be the hint about who I'm talking about. Because I just refuse to give him any credit by using his name whatsoever on my channel. So other than mentioning him in passing.
Good idea.
I think with Kent Hovind, he's got a heart condition, and it has to do with pride. He's too proud to look at science.
Every time he does that, I'm just screaming, saying, "Somebody turn on a stopwatch."
So Rebekah
Donnie,
just
start a stopwatch.
Rebekah just went live, and she's calling it, "You are now entering the echo chamber." And it's like, is she? I wonder if she's referring. I don't know.
I used that word in a comment to her. I hope I didn't offend her.
Yeah. Well.
Well, if you ban atheists, isn't it going to be an echo chamber?
Whoever will happen to listen, and if people don't listen, that's fine too. But you know, the reason I put that I'm, you know, starting an echo chamber is kind of based on several accusations. A lot of people have made that complaint that, oh, I'm just.
Oh, okay. So she's responding to her shutting down all the atheists. So.
But she's smiling about it because she knows this will get her more views.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, she wants to shut out the atheists, but she wants to do a stream about atheists.
I want to do a stream about atheists who can't talk back.
Does this mean she's going full on Sal now?
Because things
she
were
is,
so well
isn't she?
till you damn atheists started talking to me.
Well, her problem is that we say all these negative things in chat about religion, you know. Mm-hmm. She's got people who just want to believe and be left alone, and so she's doing video after video on anti-evolution bullshit.
Well, the thing is, I got insulted because she called me a troll. Okay, I didn't know who she was. I saw her I ran across her in a chat somewhere, and somebody said, "How come there aren't more atheists on here chatting or whatever?" And I made some comment about, "Well, you probably called us demons or blocked us."
Yeah,
and that's when she said, "Hi, I'm this and that. Why you come over to my channel and I won't call you a demon or block you." And I said, "Okay, well, fair warning. You know, I'm very, very blunt and everything. You know, oh no. So I was invited. Okay." And then she called me a troll. So just to be clear,
wow,
that was bogus. All right. Yeah. I didn't troll, just show up on her page. I was invited. So that's why I'm a little bit irked, because That was just wrong calling me a troll when I was invited.
I can understand that.
She's frustrated. She tried to convert us, right? And she tried her best with a lot of us.
I guess so.
Yeah,
that's how I met Mike. Doing the
Bible
private
study.
the Bible study thingy, with Mr. Stabby.
And she showed these horrible fucking videos that just turned me off so badly that I felt bad for her. To her, they were convincing. Who was that guy? Do you remember who that was?
Oh, I don't remember his name. He's big over there in England though, with his series.
His shit was so bad. I mean, it just, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Anyway. It's been about a year now. I don't remember. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's how I met Mike and Lance and Jay Bundy. That's why I found Jay Bundy as Jay Bundy, because before that I'd only seen him as a drummer on YouTube. Yeah, I watch a lot of the music videos, and I had seen him playing drums.
Yeah,
but it was when he showed up in Rebekah's chat that it was like when he started his more than just playing drums videos.
Yep.
So I got hooked up with all of you because of Bread, and then she was mean to me, and it's like, look, I understand if you say, look, we're not going to talk to atheists or anything, but the troll part was just that bothered me because it was, like I said, and again, Mike and I were invited to her Bible study group thing. You know what I mean? We didn't troll. We were invited. I've got the email that said, hey, I'm having this thing and I would like to invite you to join us, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure Mike got one too.
Any consolation, Dave, we've all been called a lot worse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's not the thing. But, yeah, I just don't. If I deserve it, if I was trolling, that's fine, but in this instance, though, it was not. It's not like going on Donnie's thing and, saying something about Hovind or something. This is, and Mike too, a lot of us were invited to participate in these extra things too.
Yeah.
I'll just say,
I met Mike. I met Mike, so,
yeah, that's a silver lining to it.
There you go. Yeah.
I just want to say about the Rebekah thing, I do find it a little ironic how she's saying all these atheists are closed-minded, but isn't the part of being open-minded having to listen to and critically consider dissenting views and criticisms?
Yeah. Well, I just did a video I posted about her and Ahmed. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a shorty. It's only 3 minutes.
Okay.
And the part of it in there that I cut out, somebody commented, and she put it up on there that, oh yeah, you'll listen to Ahmed hook and sinker, but when you have Dr. Dan and whoever else she had on there, actual biologists, you dismiss them. And she said, well, yes, because I go by my intuition, not what the scientific facts are.
Oh my God. Wow. She said that out loud?
Almost word for word, yeah.
Oh, wow.
She goes, and Ahmed is like, oh, yes, you should always go with your intuition over what the scientists say.
Wow.
But there was so much crap in it.
I'm sorry.
I thought it was going to be a real long thing, and it only ended up being 3 minutes. So but I got a compliment from Big Bad Mama, and that was a great compliment because Big Bad Mama is great at making the short little videos. So
yeah.
But yeah, check it out. It's only about 3 minutes long. It's entertaining. I tried to make it humorous.
But
it's got some circus music.
Word for word, just.
Huh. I had the on her Origins channel when she's got Ahmed on there. The problems with evolution or something like that. It's called. She says it.
Right.
Here's the Ahmed video.
Here's my Ahmed video.
Yeah, we got to put that in. We'll put that in public chat.
I worked real hard on it for a 3-minute video, so
yeah.
I hope everybody enjoys it. I mixed in some circus music. I thought it was the perfect touch. So, and that's my own mix. I ran it through Audacity. I mixed it all myself.
Actually, just to quickly add on to that point I just made, I think in her recent video on her Examining Origins channel about Big Bang falling apart, I made a comment and I was talking about, of course, all the stuff that I got wrong. But then at the end, I was saying, if you don't want to be an echo chamber, I'd really like to, talk with you about some of the stuff and give you the other side of things. And then she commented back and said, now she's questioning my open-mindedness and saying that unless what'd she say? Unless I were to admit that there were major contradictions with the Big Bang based on all this new data that's coming out, she wasn't too interested in having a discussion with me. I admitted there were open questions with it, and I haven't really heard back since. So,
well, I'm willing to listen.
With all that's going on now.
Yeah, I'm willing to listen, and I can tell you back what they say. In the Doc Dino debate the other night, I thought one of his best jabs at Hovind was when he said, "I already answered that question just a little bit ago. What did I say?" And Hovind said, "I don't remember what you said." And it's like, yeah. See, there it is.
Yep.
They don't remember a thing you said. Nothing sticks in their head. I know what Hovind says. It's stuck in my head.
They don't hear a single thing you say.
Yep.
They get that look. They get that potted plant look that Otangelo gets. He's got that famous potted plant look. I've seen it on Rebekah. I've seen it on all of them. It's just this potted plant look. It's just bouncing off. They're not, because they already know. And it's amazing. This John House.
At most, what they listen for keywords and kind of spring from there.
Right. This John House that she had on, or whatever his name is, he had. He said it a number of times. I just go to scripture. I go to scripture. And it's like, wait a minute. What? How do you verify that? Like, they go to scripture like it's a word of God because it says in scripture that it's a word of God. And that's been coming up in the last few weeks over and over on different channels, both atheists and Christians. It's the circularity of this shit is just blows me away. And they don't see it. It's like, come on. Like for me, I've never been exposed to scripture or Christianity, they're going to have to come at me from the angle of, first of all, I'm going to have to convince you that the scripture is the word of God. And then we can get started, right? Then everything falls in place after that. But wait a minute. I watch Myth Vision. That's where I get all my information on scripture.
Well, yeah, where do you get your information about atheists? Well, you go to the Bible. It's like, okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And there's a bunch of things in here where this John guy goes and he quotes biblical passages about how evil we are and how we just want to sin and we're not his sheep. We're not Jesus's sheep. And it's like, yeah, you're right about that. I'm not a sheep. He thinks being a lamb or something. I don't know. I guess being a lamb is better than a sheep. I don't know. Is it?
It just shows the.
I could say something. I could say something that would get my YouTube channel banned right now.
No.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Did you see?
It's on my mind, Scott.
Do not.
Did you see Jay trying to stream yesterday? He was trying to respond to some
Jay Pasick?
No, Jay Bundy. He was trying to respond to somebody that made some what he claimed were racist comments, and as soon as he started it and started repeating the words, boom. And then he came back on and boom. And then he came back on. No shit. And boom. They were
what did he say? Oh, you don't want to say it.
I don't want to say it.
I mean, Chris,
you know those critters that you had to shoo away from your property?
Yeah. Oh, those guys.
Take off the first couple letters of that.
Oh, okay. And that gets you. We could get shut down for just saying that. Oh no, I'm tempted.
I'm not sure, but apparently he was having trouble. It was just a shorty, and every time it started, boom, went to the black circle of death. So.
Holy shit! Wow. That's amazing that they're that quick about some things and not other things. I'm pretty sure my sheep and lamb comment would trigger that algorithm.
Well, Jim Hall told me when you're doing videos or streams, YouTube catches you, especially on your first few minutes.
Okay.
So his tip was keep it clean at the start, and you're usually okay. But if you start out with this, throwing all them words, it's gonna pick you right up.
Oh, that
There's
guy
a tip
that
for everybody.
That guy the guy that feeds the raccoons wieners, he has cancer, colon cancer, I guess. You remember him?
I do.
He's going in for surgery, and I don't know. I hope he's okay, but yeah, it don't sound good because he's got to have surgery, and he had a health update. My sister just found that channel the other day, and they're feeding him cookies now. They have dessert for him, and it's really a cool channel. He's got like 50 to 500,000 views on some of his videos, so he does really good. Feeds him 8 pounds of wieners.
Those raccoons may end up with colon cancer.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good. I got some subs after Ember gave me a shout out. And good. And I'm almost to 5K views, so I might have a stream celebrating 5K here.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Maybe after Sunday's show, I'll cross over that.
Yeah. Anybody interested in listening to part of this guy?
I listened to it last night, so you want comments? Go ahead. I watched it last night.
Try to meet them on the atheist's terms, but I've learned not to do that. We can respond to questions, but I think what we should be doing is responding to them on God's terms. What did God say? And that is the motto that I continue to to make the forefront of all of my conversations. If you want to ask me,
and that's the mistake he's making.
Yeah. What did God say?
I've read a lot of religious texts, and so have a lot of other non-believers, and it's always, well, you just haven't read our book. It's like, I read your book. What do you want to talk about in your book?
What did God say?
What I'm taking that as to mean, like, from just a regular conversation with another person or anything, like don't try to understand it from their perspective. Just base it off of your perspective, and everything will go okay. If that's going to work.
Yeah. Okay, I got another clip.
Or commenting on it. They were saying things like, well, 3 days, that's not really a sacrifice.
Oh, I don't know.
And I said to them, I said, look, you may not think it's sufficient for you as insofar as what you consider a sacrifice. I said, but according to God, it was sufficient for him. He said that 3 days was enough, even though you may not think it's enough. Maybe you think he should have stayed on the cross.
But if it's him, shouldn't he already know what's sufficient to convince me?
Yeah. I don't know what he's talking about.
His book is just a book of tropes.
Yeah.
That it's sufficient for God. Well, what are we talking about then?
Yeah.
I want to know, about the Bible, the truth of the Bible, and I do think. I don't know what anybody's point is. 3 days.
If you throw yourself on a grenade and you know it's a dud, it's not the same thing.
To summarize,
Jesus. Oh, I've got to die, but I'll be okay in a couple of days. Well, that's not the same thing. That's like, you threw yourself on a dud grenade, but you knew it was a dud, just so you could say, "Ha look at me."
Yeah. He mentions a couple of scriptures. Like, his whole thing is, don't talk to the atheists anymore. When they ask you for evidence or whatever, don't engage with them. Just go to God's word and judge them.
Yeah.
and we have 1 John 2:19. They went out from us, but they did not really belong to us. For if they had belonged to us, they would have remained with us. But their going showed that none of them belonged to us. Meaning that even the ones that, the ones that said, I used to be a Christian, but now I'm an atheist, well, they were never really Christians. Right? But somehow we all know God in our heart. That's another thing they say.
That was
And
his big point, is you're going to get judged. And it's like, my conscience is good. I'll answer for myself. Why are you so worried about answering for yourself?
Yeah, he's just doing Bible tract tropes.
It's always like, oh, I've got such a guilty conscience. And it's like, hey, I'm even good by a lot of Christian standards. I've only been married once, my kids are ours. You know what I mean? What we do in our bedroom is fine because we're married. You know what I mean? I can go down the list. I'm good on almost all those things. So if it's just because I don't believe in Noah's Ark or whatever, well, then I'll take that. I'll answer for that.
Highlight the next comment up from Dorn.
Next one up, an infinite. That one? No, God, something happened. Okay, come on, just quit moving.
Yeah, that one.
That one?
That one.
Yeah. Stubs his toe and hurts for 3 days. Yeah. Okay, in John 10:26 it says, "But you do not believe because you are not my sheep. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. I give them eternal life and they shall never perish. No one will snatch them out of my hand." So that's one of the things that he offered for atheists. And I'm just not convinced. The Psalm 14:1, the fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. Their deeds are vile. There is no one who does good. The Lord looks down from heaven on the sons of men to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. And that's kind of his deal. His idea is that God, that basically you don't come to God by yourself. God decides, and he opens your heart to him. That basically it's God deciding. That's part of his theology. I think Rebekah disagrees with that. So anyway, whatever. What are you going to do? The Bible's the word of God. I get everything from the Bible first. I get science second,
Well, all the talking he did could have been summed up with just, I'm going to threaten you with hell. You're getting judged, because he said both of those things.
Yeah, he did.
So why go on and on and on and on for what he went on for like 10, 15 minutes before GG got on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, they don't realize that what they're doing is reading, when they read from the New Testament, they're just reading a book curated by people who just wanted to insulate themselves from logic and reason and skeptical or critical analysis. Yeah. And so those happen to be the little maneuvers that cultists come up with to keep people in. They were never part of us. Don't worry that so-and-so left. They were never part of us, and they weren't really us. Yeah, they were leaders. They worked hard and everything, but they really weren't the real kind of us. And then there's other types of things too, like that they're of the devil. They're masquerading as angels of light, but they're really the devil. Yeah. And those are just. I
think he said that too in the video about, well, what about other religions or something? And it's like, well, they're just false. Those are false gods, and they're all demons or whatever. And
he reminds me of this really old guy that I met once at a church service years ago when I was still a Christian. Wasn't even in seminary yet. This was that long ago, and he was like a old retired lay minister, maybe a deacon, and he self-published this little hardback book of basically he was doing his own apologetics. And I read through it, and he was smiling. I mean, he was like a kid who just got a new game controller for Christmas or something. And I was reading it, and it was just tropes. Even back then, I realized this stuff isn't going to reach anybody because it's just so tropish, you know, and it's not original. And
if you're just
so
going to threaten, if you're just going to threaten somebody,
yeah,
and punish them, and on and on, and it's like, yeah, you'll accept anything after a while.
so I handed it back to him and
away.
smiled. But you know, that dude, what's his face, John Hall. He reminds me of that old guy, except maybe he's not smiling as much. He just wrote a book. It's tropey dopey. Doesn't bring in anything new. Bring me something I've not heard before, and listen to my responses, and maybe we'll actually be able to get a conversation going. But yeah, somebody might as well just like when I'm at McDonald's, slipped a chick track in my bag of French, you know, with French fries and Big Mac in it, and that's about the value it has. I'll throw the track away and then eat my Big Mac, and then die of a heart condition.
And hello, James.
Hey, James. Anyway,
how are you?
This is Thor, by the way. Thor.
Thor.
Oh.
My eyes are watering for some reason now. I'm about to sneeze.
Yeah. Looking at a cat
Yeah.
makes your eyes water. Yep. Yeah, Thor.
It looks like he's done with everything right now.
You know, he's always done with everything. This is the chillest cat we've ever had. He's always been real chill. He just wants to be pet under the chin. He likes that scratching.
Well, if you don't think we don't spoil our pets, my wife said, you know, we could probably make it the next couple of days because the summer's been pretty mild here.
Yeah.
But the old cat and the old dog and the puppy, they're going to need some AC. So
oh yeah,
we got the AC on so that the animals are nice and cool. So
yeah.
Oh, you have a choice.
Yeah, when Thor was young, the other people that live with me here in the house called him "no fucks to give Thor."
Mm-hmm.
That's been his attitude ever since. Unlike,
did you see the pic I put up of the two pups sleeping together on Facebook? They're warming up to each other. The old guy and the puppy are making friends. So
yeah,
we've crossed that threshold, and now he's starting to follow the old guy around, and he's helping with the training and everything. So
it's really weird. I dropped like 40 bookmarks on this video, and now I really don't give a shit about anything he has to say.
Well, like I say, you can sum it up with he threatened you with hell and judgment. That's you're going to face the great white judgment or whatever he said, the throne or whatever, and it's like, okay, right?
Also, he got lazy.
Yeah,
he got lazy and defensive.
Where's the part about evolution here? Let's see here.
And then I was kind of lost on where Godless was going. I'm not sure if
I don't know.
I was kind of lost and confused. So
I just wish her all the best. Hope she has a happy and stable life to give that baby of hers.
Hope she stays sober. Yeah. It's the important.
Always wish the best for everybody, except for a few choice people.
Cordova.
No, mostly an attorney comes to mind. But
an attorney. Okay. Yeah. There you go. 115.06 if I subtract.
And Hogan.
115.26.
May the fleas from 1,000 camels infest a place they cannot scratch.
I wanted to play one other part here, just for our evolutionist friends. You evolutionists. Andrew, you evolutionist. Okay, let's see.
Like,
no, it's evolutionist.
A hindrance to people coming to God? Or do you think it's like God gave them the delusion so that they would believe the lie because they didn't want to come to the truth? Like, what I mean is, like, is it worthwhile to fight evolution? Because is it just like actually something God has provided an outlet, you know, like Richard Dawkins says, like, you know, evolution makes it possible to be an intellectually satisfied atheist, right? It like, so do you think evolution is something worth fighting against?
Fighting against insofar as simply pushing back on what many are claiming to be the truth, whether it's
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So he's a creationist too. So anyway, but that's interesting from Rebekah. She wants to know if, you know, like, there would be no atheists if there weren't evolution, right? It's like,
Well, I've heard her combating evolution, and she should probably just stop doing it.
right.
I looked up a poll before that said the majority of religious people around the world accept facts of science like evolution, age of the universe, even
Right.
Islam at 51%. Now it's just you know,
I'm
what
sure
you call a
someone has
majority, just barely.
pointed that
But-
out to her, right?
But Islam, with as, you know, repressive as they are in Islamic countries, you know, restricting religion, especially to women and everything, 51%. They're blowing away this, you know, handful of Sals and whatnots that are bouncing around. It's
Right.
that's you know. And at the end of my video is William Lane Craig's quote: Young Earth creationism is an embarrassment. This is William Lane Craig, a
Yeah.
devout believer. You cannot say he's an evolutionist or an atheist or any of those things. He just flat out says, I don't buck up against mainstream science because they know better than he does.
That's right.
So to
Well,
his credit,
yeah.
his credit, he will defer to the scientists.
Yeah, props to him.
Yep.
The other thing I will say though is that should really tell you something. If all these scientists or non-scientists from different political and religions, yet they all believe in this same general conclusion, that ought to speak to how powerful an idea it is and how accurate it is. Otherwise, why would they all accept it?
Yeah, that was Ahmed saying, well, of course the evolutionists accept evolution because they study evolution. And if you don't accept evolution when you study evolution and become an evolutionist, unless, and her and Rebekah go, unless they're just keeping it quiet.
Oh, yeah. The conspiracy.
Yep. And it was like,
because we want everybody to be evil and sin with us.
It's in that video you had up there. That they said in that. I watched it last night. It was tough. I was actually kicked back with my eyes closed, but I listened to it.
Whenever someone brings up, scientists are in a global conspiracy, that sort of thing, I just reply back, you haven't really met that many scientists, have you?
So Dave, you didn't link the original video, did you?
Yeah, I did.
What?
I just scrolled way down and put it down there.
Oh, okay. So, show more.
I put it in there. I listened to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, let's see. Oh, there. Oh my goodness. Okay, there it is. So this Ahmed guy, he's a creationist of some sort, I guess.
Yeah, he has his own channel too.
Okay.
Something about finding the truth or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's in his name there. Yeah, something. Finding the truth. He talks with Fuzz Rana and a couple others, and but I don't think he listens to them because they don't really say what he thinks they say.
Yeah.
And then he's got a bunch of other yes men, Muslims and stuff on there.
Didn't you have a discussion with Dapper Dino one time?
He gets around. He's
okay.
Yeah, he gets around.
Problems with evolution. So did he come up with any real problems? What?
I think I summed it up well in my 3-minute video.
I think, the interesting thing is that problems with evolution is what everybody that studies evolutionary or works in evolutionary biology is concerned with. I mean, that's all we do is problems for evolution.
It's just, he says that evolutionists play a word game, but here's the word game they're playing. It's the same exact thing that Ken Ham does. He'll say, well, of course natural selection happens. Of course speciation happens. Of course genes, genetic drift. Of course. But that's not evolution. And that's what he's doing. He'll say, well, of course, because my question was, do alleles change across populations? Because that's the definition for the theory of evolution. And he said, well, of course it does. That doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It just means you're changing. You're looking for change, and this is change. And it's like, yeah, that's the change, and you can test it. And yes. But that doesn't mean anything. And then they start laughing. And it's like, So I've had this video in my folder for a while.
Evolution means that you think you're related to a banana.
He says, let's talk about this science fiction of evolution. They take if you have enough mutations, you're going to be X-Men, and you're going to have laser beams coming out your eyeballs.
God.
Oh yeah, it's in my video. That's where they go. That's where they go.
Oh, we got to watch that video. I missed that one. I got to watch it. I saw it in my feed, and then I got distracted, as I do.
I worked really hard on that for a 3-minute video.
Right.
It's amazing how much work you can put into a 3-minute video.
I'd show it here, but I think everybody should go to your channel and watch it. I linked it in my description. So.
You can play it if you want. Go ahead.
You wanna?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. Let's see. Where are you? Where are you?
It's a shorty.
Is it? Oh, let's see. What is wrong? Something is horribly wrong. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'll play it. Whoops, I gotta put sound on? Wait a minute, sound's not on.
Maybe make it full screen too.
Yeah, I will. Do you start the sound later, or is something wrong here?
This is just up for a couple seconds, and then it'll go to sound.
So, is evolution a scientific fact?
I find it really very frustrating is that the people who have set the foundations of this thing called the theory of evolution have really did a very good job in twisting the language in an irreversible way. If we ask the question, is change a fact? The answer is yes, change is obviously a fact. So the one thing that does not change is change. Change is happening all the time. If you stop at evolution, that there is change in life, okay, I'm happy to say that it is a fact. This process has continued for so many epochs, or for so many hundreds of thousands, and then millions, and then billions of years. The more we can look farther into the past, we find that this process of change is a hallmark of how things have happened over the past. For example, the most recent change is that suddenly there are humans. So obviously, at a point of time, there were no humans, and then there is humans. But if you tell me that the science fiction nonsense, okay, let's go now to the science fiction nonsense, that because of random mutations, we will have an X-Man who controls people with his mind, and a lady who controls thunder with her eyes, and somebody because of that. This is the very first question, and they always avoid it because there is no answer for it, and there will not be an answer for it in a million years. And I know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay?
Well, then how are they getting away? Look, then how are they getting away with presenting this as a scientific fact? How are they getting away with this?
And tell me, what is the empirical evidence for this thing? Please give me empirical evidence for the theory. Please give me empirical evidence for this thing. So, for example, we have somebody on the comments saying, for example, alleles change over population. Yes, alleles change over population. What does that prove? It proves that there is change. It essentially proves. Can the answer be that there is change? Is this an answer? You are looking for an explanation why there is change. So the very fact that there is change, and if you add the words change in alleles in reproductive populations, it means it adds nothing at all. What is this? You are not looking for a proof that there is change because this is your initial observation. Okay? This is the whole thing. All right? So
These are, I have to tell you, Ahmed, some of the people that are watching are really faithful audience members on my Bread of Life channel. They're probably so mad at me right now. But I mean, I love everything you're saying, and I feel like
They actually think this is dumb and that your guest is dumb and that it's making you not as bright as you want to be.
And they keep asking for empirical evidence, and it's kind of like this guy was just bitching on Rebekah's channel about atheists asking for empirical evidence of God, and they're kind of doing the same thing. It's like, but give me empirical evidence, observable evolution. I want to see a liver evolve.
If you test genomes across a population, that's empirical.
Yeah,
by definition, it's data that you can observe. That's empirical.
Their understanding of basically inference and science and evolution is so weak, and there's just no getting through to them. They want to see a liver develop in a test tube. They want to see abiogenesis happen in a test tube, and it's like, oh my God.
Show the little thing at the very end too. That's what William Lane Craig's at the very end.
Young's creationism is an embarrassment.
Yep.
Good. Yep.
That's my end slide.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very
Thanks,
good.
Dave.
Yeah.
It's a good video.
Thank you.
I like the music.
I was gonna say, did you enjoy the music?
Yeah. The music was perfect.
I mixed that myself.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
Anyway, okay, guys. James, what's happening, James? You're quiet.
Oh, yeah. Hi, guys.
Hi.
We were going to cover your most recent blog where you were having a conversation with one of these guys about that kind of goes along with what Ken Ham said about 100 Harvard PhDs could disagree with me, but is her word stronger than the word of God? And blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you were having kind of a similar conversation, right?
Sure. It's all the same thing. It's just organized narcissism with a religious theme. That's all it is. It's people that their needs when they were growing up weren't met in such a way that they became clinical narcissists. Now, obviously, not all Christians are clinical narcissists, but the ones that have a more healthy psychology, they go towards the progressive Christianity because Christianity is always a choose-your-own-adventure religion. You always match it to wherever you're at in life, whatever makes sense to you, whatever resonates for the personality that you have. And so if somebody goes through life and they kind of want everybody to suffer horribly for not being who you want them to be, right? You just can't let go of the fact that people aren't how you want them to be. They're not stroking your ego well enough, for example. Well, then you're going to be more inclined to believe in a hell, like this place where people can get dumped in, and then people are going to suffer forever for the injustice they've done to you by not serving your ego. But if you don't have that kind of a sense of undying vengeance, right, then you're not going to be drawn toward versions of Christianity that have this hell. If you think people just need to die and get out of the way, then you're going to be an annihilationist. If you think that people are basically good and you want the best for them and you think that there's hope for everybody, you're going to be a universalist, right? That's just how that works. You choose your own adventure based on the way that your mind and emotions work. So, the people who happen to be clinical narcissists or that are high on that scale and they grow up in a religious culture, that's the kind of religion that they gravitate towards because that's the itch that it scratches. So when you have people like Johnny Haas, who is just a bold, blatant narcissist, in fact, even other Christians would make fun of him in the debate scene that we used to be in on Facebook. He was active in one or two particular Facebook debate groups, and he always lost every debate. And he would say things like he has no compassion at all for anybody that isn't pre-chosen by God to end up in heaven, because he's a Calvinist. And he would just say this boldly. He doesn't even have compassion for other Christians who aren't going to go to heaven because they're in the wrong version of Christianity. He doesn't care at all that they're going to suffer horribly, writhing in agony in a hell forever, because that's what they deserve. That's what he wants to see happen to them. It's not that he ignores it or just tries to be at peace with it or whatever, like most Christians. He's like, I like the idea that people are going to suffer forever. It makes me happy. He would directly admit this in video things that he would upload to the debate group. And he's just a special kind of work. And other Christians were even more upset with him than the atheists, where they're like, dude, you're making Christianity look so much worse than it already looks. Shut up. And I found it amusing, though disturbing at the same time, you know. So, in the meantime, Rebekah did... Go ahead.
That's interesting, because he was on with Rebekah, and I think her theology he would classify her as going to hell, right? Because she doesn't go to hell. Yeah.
So, Johnny Haas believes Rebekah's going to go to hell forever, writhe in agony, can't escape from it. She's been predestined to hell, but that's how she was born. Right. Nothing can change it, and he's glad about it. But it's that whole thing where they feel like they've got to put up a unified front and pretend to be this one big happy family of people who are looking for God, right? Because Johnny Haas is not looking to build bridges of love and understanding. He's quite content with the idea that he was born for heaven. Most humans who will ever exist were born for hell. Hell is literal. Hell is eternal. Hell is inescapable. Hell is unimaginable suffering. And he's glad that you were made specifically for the purpose of suffering forever. He's glad. So he doesn't respect Rebekah. And to be honest, it's just sickening the way Rebekah has absolutely no standards in terms of who she'll promote, right? And atheists are bad people because they don't believe in a God. But Johnny Haas is a good person, according to Rebekah, even though he wants Rebekah to suffer horribly forever in a lake of fire. Right. Like, these people are fucking nuts. Yeah. So, there you are.
Yeah, I think they're nuts. I think that is a problem.
Yeah, and she did a stream today while you were streaming. She was streaming. And
yeah, I know. It's this one right here.
Yeah, she blocked a whole bunch of people, including B.S. Lewis. And
really?
She announced it. She announced it on her stream that she blocked B.S. Lewis. She's like, I still love B.S. Lewis, and if he ever invited me and my family over to have dinner with him and his family, we'd go across the country to have dinner with him. But I had to block him from my channel because atheists basically are... there's something wrong with them, right?
There's no hope. Yeah,
there's no hope for them. And she had a vision from God, apparently, where atheists are all stuck in this evil tar. And,
oh my God.
And she was trying to help them out of the tar. And they're too stuck. And Jesus lifted her up away from it and gave her a message of hope, right? And not for atheists specifically, but for her and for people who are good, right? So it's whatever.
Sounds like she watched Star Trek Next Generations just before going to bed.
Yeah, something.
And if you watch Star Trek Next Generations, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And she blocked me too. I can't post on her. I won't be able to type in chat and have anybody see it.
Yep.
So she blocked me and several other people. It's interesting. She got mad at me for asking questions in a private chat last week, a week and a half ago. I never said anything. I never made a statement about her or her religion or God or anything. I just asked questions. And
make a review video. See what happens.
I did a review stream about that conversation. I showed it on screen. I read every single comment in between us.
You know, I think Cel Cordova has probably gotten to her somehow because she's starting to turn into him. I mean,
I remember when James started reading her book and just couldn't go on.
Yeah,
I couldn't. I got to the 4th chapter, And she's a lot like Sal. She doesn't care if there is a Christian theocracy that horribly persecutes LGBT people and atheists and liberals and everybody else. Because if that's what it takes to make a society that's beautiful in terms of all about God, right? God this and God that in every goddamn conversation. If what it takes is to horribly torture people to death, men, women, children, families, exterminate them like rodents, in order to make that more beautiful society where somebody like Rebekah can go to the grocery store or the park or wherever and everything is all about God, then, oh, well, that's just what it takes, right? And so, go ahead.
Isn't that what they imagine happening? This whole what is it? They're all going to be brought up to heaven, and then Jesus is going to come down, and there's going to be this horrible, like, apocalypse going on, and then Jesus is going to come back down and bring them back down, and they're going to basically kill all of us, which is what they fucking want to do, and that's one of the reasons why they want to get their people elected.
Right.
And they want this theocracy to happen on Earth so they can deal with us atheists in the only way they know how.
Yes,
violence.
The atheists.
Fucking violence.
Atheists, liberals, gays, lesbians, trans people.
Get us all.
Hindus, Muslims. Rebekah would be saying, come on, can't we spare the Muslims? They still believe in God. The other people Jesus is going to say, no, I can't spare them either. And then Rebekah's going to say, well, okay, that's fine. Right? It's just, she has no loyalties to basic human decency at all. She's crazy, right? But, what are you going to do about it? You can't argue someone out of being crazy. You can't argue them into giving a shit about other human beings. You just can't. So there we are.
I always forget the name of Rapture. I had a girlfriend that used to tell me I was going to be the first one up against the wall when the revolution starts. I don't know what she meant. But anyway.
Well, so tomorrow or the next day, I'll be going over my blog. I'm going to make a few tweaks to it. And
okay.
It's kind of long, so we'll see.
I know I told you we were going to do that now, but then,
no, it's
how
wasn't
fucking
up for it.
Yeah, I'm distractible anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Sunday evening is episode 2 of the Grassman Chronicles.
Okay.
I and Look at the Trees are going to take a look at a haunting story, an alien abduction story.
Ooh.
And Trees is going to share his own Bigfoot encounter story.
His own? Oh, cool. He saw Bigfoot in person.
That will be 6:30 my time on Sunday. That's Eastern.
That would be here.
So you're an hour. You're an hour different, Mike. Yep, there it is. Episode 2.
Okay.
And we already have plans for future episodes. We hope to keep it going. So, and it's one of my most watched videos. So people seem to enjoy it. So, and Trees too. He got a bunch of views too. We put it on both the channels, and between us, we got about 300 views between us.
So I link that in the description for those who are too lazy to go look it up themselves.
I sent him my outline already, and I've got a folder with pictures, and we've got he even went on the road to the cemetery and got some footage. So we got Tree's own footage to put in, because the cemetery is nearby where he lives, where these ladies tragically had their sad events happen.
I had a Bigfoot encounter when I was 3 or 4 years old that I still remember. I went to my grandpa's farm, and Dad let me out of the car, and I ran up to the pig pen, and this big man-bear ape pig jumped up on the fence, and I swear it was an ape pig, and that's how I remember it. And I ran away screaming. That was my Bigfoot encounter. Yeah, but you know how I was probably about 2.5 feet tall, and this big boar who they tend to be a little hairy, and sometimes they have big fucking teeth coming out of their mouth. I think that's what I saw, but I have no idea what I saw. But my memory is I saw an ape pig, man-bear ape pig, or something. And it's stuck in my mind forever. I never went near Grandpa's pig pen again.
Jeez.
Or Grandpa, for that matter. He was a little scary, too. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, guys, can we wrap her up? Anybody have anything they want to say? No?
Yeah, I
No.
want everybody to come see the Grassman Chronicles. That's
Yeah.
Sunday at 6:30
Sunday
Okay.
at 6:30 p.m.
I linked it in the
Eastern time.
description.
That's
I put
an
it in
hour
chat.
off from you and Scott too, I believe, or an hour off, right?
Yeah.
But we do it early in the evening because there's a lot of other shows on Sunday evenings, so we want to do ours so everybody else can go watch Maya and Owen and everybody else that runs their shows on Sunday nights. So,
Maya has that bad science show on Sunday nights. Yep.
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 So we're in and out early, so everybody else can enjoy their evening. And we keep it to an hour. We keep it to an hour, 20 minutes each story.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up, Scott.
Oh, and everybody should go check out Trees too, because he's got some new stuff and he's got some new ideas going on. He wants to do a line of survival tools, equipment kits and stuff like that he wants to get into. So everybody, if you aren't subscribed to Look at the Trees, go subscribe, help the brother out.
Yep, I am. Okay, we're gonna end it. Ready?
Have a good one, everybody.
We are ready.
World. Okay.